Welcome to the Metamorphosis Project Podcast. I'm your host, Tenya Eickenberg, and this is a space where transformation begins. Here, we dive deep into energy healing, self-care, and the power of mindset to help you break free from old patterns and design a life that feels aligned, vibrant, and authentically you. Each week, we explore the tools, techniques, and real-life experience that guide us toward lasting healing and growth. Because true metamorphosis isn't just about change. It's about becoming who you were always meant to be. Now, let's get into this week's conversation. Welcome back to the Metamorphosis Project Podcast. I am excited with today's guest. We have Noemi Beres. She is a podcast connector, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But you're also an art therapy teacher, that you help people to kind of find where they are through art therapy, which is something that just recently kind of came into my view. I have a friend who just recently got her degree in art therapy, and before that I had heard a little bit of, like art is therapeutic. It really is. Crafting is therapeutic. It's something that I grew up with my mom doing. But before we get into that, we're going to break the ice a little bit with a hygge question. And eventually I will be able to say that without actually thinking about how to say it. Okay, so your question is, if you could pass one law that everyone would have to follow, what would it be? A world law. I don't even think we have world laws. But
no, unfortunately, we don't. We should. That's a great and deep question. The law of love, to spread more love on the planet, and we just need more love, and that would solve so many problems.
It would, yeah. More kindness, more compassion,
right?
Just more acceptance.
Exactly. So
absolutely, true. Absolutely. Noemi, tell us where your transformation started, because this is a storytelling podcast. And so I love hearing other people's stories of where their transformations began and kind of how they came through them. What did they use to get through them? Mostly because there may be somebody listening today that is struggling with getting through depression, anxiety, grief, just something that they're trying to get through in life. And I like to have many tools for people to access. So start us off with your amazing story of transformation.
My transformation story started when I was quite young, because I think we all have different transformation, like milestones in our lives. And so I had a few. The first and probably the most important one happened when I was an exchange student in Denmark. That's why I speak Danish, and that's why I have a master's degree in Danish linguistics. And so when I was 16, together with my dad, we figured it out, like, oh, I should be an exchange student. My mom didn't really like the idea. So, and I had two options. I could either go to Denmark and, learn Danish, go to a Danish school for a year, or go to Canada. So my mom told me, no, you're not going overseas, you're staying in Europe. And that was it. So that's how I became an exchange student. And being an exchange student really changed my life. And the way I think, and I grew up so fast after that year, because I went there 16, I went back home at age 17, and nobody really recognized me, literally nobody recognized me, because I changed in the outside and inside as well, but mostly in the inside. Because when you are in a different culture, you need to learn a different language at a young age, all alone, all by yourself. You have to build up basically all your relationships there and make friendships there from different people from all around the globe. I think it's a really eye-opening experience for anyone, for a kid, for a teenager, or even for an adult. And I always loved traveling. So my love of traveling started when I was a kid and 5-6-year-old with my parents. We traveled a lot, and this is just continued. And so the biggest milestone, biggest turning point, that changed really my life was when I became an exchange student. Then the second biggest one was when I moved to Ireland with my husband, and we started our life there together. And we've spent 7 years there, and I became an entrepreneur in Ireland, and that was a very exciting experience. And I knew nothing about being an entrepreneur, obviously, when you just like,
I don't think anybody does.
yeah, I just want to be an entrepreneur because I don't want to work in this, call center all my life in Ireland. And that was it. And the third and biggest, and probably the hardest turning point in my life was when my dad was diagnosed with cancer in 2017. And he passed away in 2019, just before COVID. And then lost a business because of COVID and lost my grandma to an accident. So 2019 was a very tough year. And 2022, because I had to, start a whole new business, a brand new business from scratch, plus dealing with my own trauma, tragedy, grief, anxiety, everything. So it was really, really hard. So I think these are the three major turning points, milestones in my life that really changed my life.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see. I noticed that when my daughter moved out, and that, I mean, I think she was 21 at the time when she moved out, but she had to move out in order to grow. And
Yeah.
so I think it's important for kids to definitely find something where they can leave the nest for a period of time, because it does help them to grow, to get out of their regular environment. So it sounds like that's what the exchange student program did for you. Was
Yeah.
it took you out of that environment with your parents and stuck you in one where, yes, you had another family that was there to support you, but there were things that you still had to figure out on your own, because you were essentially on your own.
Yeah. True. Very
And
true.
then well, marriage is gonna be a transformational period anyway. And so then you moved from where you were living to a whole nother country.
Yes, true. After university, I was just like, okay, let's go. And I was just married for 5 years. Okay, let's move to another countries. And that was it.
Yeah. So that's definitely, I mean, that's a huge move. How old were you when you moved to Ireland?
Oh gosh, I was 24.
24.
24. So it's still young. And
Yeah.
I married young, so it was everything new to me. And just I started to work. Basically, that was my first real workplace in Ireland. And like maybe second. Okay. I had one in Hungary too, but that didn't really count. And so no, it was just like 6 months and that was it. And so yeah, that was my real workplace, starting like kind of your real marriage after you went to university. So yeah, it was an amazing time.
Yeah. But then 2017, and your dad gets diagnosed with cancer.
Right.
And I can't imagine how impactful that is, with the understanding, I'm guessing eventually, that there wasn't anything that you knew you could do to help.
Not really. I researched everything. Obviously, you try your best, and we tried all kind of holistic approach, everything and anything. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
fine. I mean, fortunately, he stayed with us for 2 more years until
Right.
2019. So we were just blessed to have those years, or
Yeah.
not. Depends. It's because of the
Well, I
suffering.
would say I would say you were blessed.
Yeah, we were blessed. We were blessed. And yeah,
Not easy, but blessed.
yes, yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. So 2019, I think, was a hard year for a lot of people. That was
yes,
that was when my healing journey really came to a head, was in
right.
2019. And so, and a lot of other people have said that things started to show up before COVID,
Mm,
that they needed to address, they needed to deal with, and they really pushed things away until COVID hit, and they were forced to to kind of look inward and try to figure out, what is it that I need to feel better, not fix myself, but to feel better.
yeah.
And so, did you find that that's what kind of happened? Was, your dad passed away, your grandmother passed away in 2019, and did you just kind of like try to push stuff away until, like, you could not push it away anymore?
Yes, correct. I mean, that was it because I'm an only child and I had to support my mom and,
Wow.
organize all the funerals and everything. So it was a lot going on. Plus, we have a son and who was like 7 at the time. And actually, my dad passed away on my son's 7th birthday. So it was
Oh,
also, his birthday is coming up actually next week and my dad's death anniversary. It was horrible, and because there was so much going on, and the business was dying because we had an online travel related business,
yeah.
and because of the pandemic, it was just like from one day to another, it just disappeared basically from the planet.
Yeah.
And we had to figure it out what to do next, and have to figure out to start a new business. So I didn't really have time to kind of grieve or to deal with my anxiety and stress, but that was palpable. So I felt horrible, and I have like panic attacks and everything was going on. But then pandemic happened, and the whole just turned upside down. And actually, my mom stuck here in Cyprus because we moved from Ireland to Cyprus, and we've been living in Cyprus for almost 14 years now. So she stuck with us. Pandemic happening, my son is online schooling in full swing, which is drove the whole family crazy, I think, and a lot of families in the
I
world.
I am so thankful that my kids were out of school by the time COVID hit and I did not have to deal with that. Like I can't
It was
imagine.
tough. It
I
was
do think,
tough.
yeah,
Yeah.
I say I do think that if my kids were younger, I think they would have done better if they were homeschooled, but that's
Yeah.
totally different than
Yeah.
online virtual school. So I am so
Yes.
sorry.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Nobody knew what's going on, not the teachers nor the kids.
No,
And even my son, he didn't really use computers because only at age 7, he
right.
just, yeah. So that was it. So I was basically sitting with him almost 24/7 and with the teachers, and it was a lot. And then during the night I was working and, starting to build up a new business. So it was a lot.
Yeah.
And then I realized that like I can't watch the news anymore. I can't have that kind of negative energy surround me. So what I did, I stopped watching the news, I stopped reading the news, and I somehow started to create this bubble around me myself. And so I had a ritual. Every evening, went into my bedroom. I was in the bed because I'm an artist. I'm a mixed media collage artist. So I started to basically make these collages on canvas, sewing them together, my childhood memories, my travel memories on these canvases. It was like a diary of my life, basically. And that's what I started to do every single evening. I put my headphone on, music, podcast, audiobook, you name it. And I was just in my bubble. And that's how my healing process started because that was my self-care practice. I got just fed up with the world and okay, I'm not doing this anymore. Let's
Right.
just go back to art because this is what helped me before. And I know this will help. And it took me some time. It took me many, many months. And it was life changing. It was a life changing experience.
So where do you find your materials for I see those some of your collages behind
Yes.
you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
they are.
my eye has been catching the one with the, is that a handkerchief that's
uh,
hanging on the white one?
this
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
it's actually not a handkerchief. It's oh my gosh, it's like a traditional Hungarian folk art, basically what you can
Okay.
see, and it's a cushion cover or something like an
Okay.
old
Okay.
cushion cover,
Yep.
basically, and I just cut it up. I got
Okay.
it from my cousin, and I have lace and everything, like lace from my grandma's um, place. And I just love to incorporate everything that basically comes from my culture. It's kind of an homage to my Hungarian heritage.
Yeah.
So that's what I did there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank
My eye keeps moving right to
thank
it.
you.
So you started doing this during the pandemic. Where did
Mm,
you find because everything was shut down.
right,
So
right,
where did you find your materials that you used to help you through
right.
all of this?
I love repurposing and recycling. I'm really into it. So I had a lot of, and plus I was an artist before the pandemic too. So I had exhibitions, group exhibitions in different countries. So I had a lot of material at home, but I
Mhm.
didn't really have, for example, canvases. So what I did, I just basically ripped apart a couple of them that I didn't like, and I just started to repurpose them during the pandemic because I couldn't buy anything, especially not in Cyprus because it was really, really strict. Like everything was so strict. And this is not the word of Amazon, next day delivery or whatever. So it's you don't do that here. Like we wait a month for something to
That's
arrive.
for me who lives in the United States, where I can go onto Amazon right now and it will say, if you order within the next 6 hours, it'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah, that's not going to happen here.
That's
No.
that's you don't think about that if you're not in that world of snail mail.
Right.
You take advantage of it.
Correct.
So that's kind of
so true.
eye-opening for me.
Yeah. E-commerce was really like way behind Europe and the whole world here in Cyprus. So I didn't have anything, but I have the rest of the material, like old postcards, or I love old vintage photos that I always collect. I'm not a hoarder. I'm more on the, I love simplicity and everything, but I have a lot of material for my art. So I could just oh my God, and I could just find new things for my collages, and I was just it's like, good. I didn't throw them away. I have them here, so I can use them now. It's time to do it.
Now, did you have your degree in art therapy before you did this, or did this kind of direct you to get that art therapy degree?
Second option, yeah. Actually, everything is evolved from that moment.
Okay.
Because when I realized that art can really help me to heal, and I started to feel better, every day, just taking those small steps. So I realized that, like, if I can do that with myself and the way I can help myself, I can help other people too. And I don't do courses or art therapy courses or anything like that. But what I do, because I am in the podcasting world this is my 5th year, because our company just celebrated its 5th birthday.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So what I did, let's go on podcast and let's share this with other people.
Yeah.
Let's share with the audience and the listeners. So if I can just help one person, and that's huge for me. So I did a course. So I ended up doing a course on art therapy, positive psychology, another one on color therapy, and I'm keep doing them because I love doing courses, and I love just learning. I'm a life learner for sure. So that's how I ended up there. Yeah.
And so how did these collages help you to move through your grief of losing 2 family members in the same year?
The monotony of sewing, the monotony of making art really helps, because you just focus on the project you're working on. The world stops, and because it's so repetitive, it's so soothing, nothing really happens. For me, it was always like a form of meditation. So it was just really calming me down. I didn't even meditate back then. The meditation came later too, into my life. And I knew, and I was like, since I was a kid, since I was a teenager, I always loved art and like coloring or painting. And I knew that, and I felt that. As an only child, I spent a lot of time by myself. And I felt that, like, if I do this, time flies. And I really enjoy it because it soothed me. And so that was it. And it's just so easy to do any kind of art. You don't need much to do that. You can just doodle, you can just knit or cook or sing or drum. And you don't need to be an artist in order to do that. So that's why it's so powerful, because everybody thinks it's like, oh my gosh, I was never a creative type of person and I can do that. Like, yes, you can. We are all creative. We were born creative. It's just society, school, they just kill basically the creativity, the whole, creativity process within us. But it's there. It's always there deep down in our soul and body.
It is. I have tried crocheting so many times. I'm really good at making a snake.
Well, see, there you go. There you go.
But I do I like needlepoint, like cross stitching.
Yes.
But as I've gotten older, it's gotten harder. I mean, I'm not that old, but like seeing those little squares is not.
I know.
And so you do have to, find different things that are going to help you through. And I love that you kind of tied this into like a meditation, because crafting, doing art is meditative. People think that meditation has to be sitting
lotus position and
right, exactly. And you're sitting there and you're doing nothing. And that's not entirely true. If you want to do that kind of meditation and get into a transcendental space, absolutely do that. However, if you're just doing it for mindfulness, if you're doing it for healing properties, meditation can be washing the dishes, painting,
Yes.
collaging, anything that's going to just bring you some peace
Mm.
and some contentment.
Yeah. And you just need to find the things that you light you up. Like for me, I was how old I was? I was 40 because I'm 45 now. It's not a secret or whatever. I was 40 when I got my first drum and like kind of drum because I have a handpan, a hang,
Mhm.
and I got it for my birthday from my mom. And so that's when the whole drumming thing started. So
Yeah.
for me, I'm not a professional musician, but I love drumming. So I have a handpan, I have a djembe drum, I have a frame drum, a tongue drum. So I just started to collect them and started to play on them. And it doesn't matter how old you are, you can start, whatever age. And it
Yeah.
really lights me up. And I drum every morning. Maybe, the neighbors, they don't like it that much, but I do it anyway. So
Who cares what they think?
exactly. That's how I feel about it. And they are nice anyway. They're really nice neighbors, so that's okay. They wouldn't tell me that, like, can you know him to stop doing it?
What would you tell somebody who is they're on the fence of doing art because they don't feel like they're creative enough?
Yeah. I always recommend three steps to people. First, explore different art forms. Because when people think about art, they always think about, oh, I have to paint, I have to draw. I was never good at painting or drawing at school. It's like, no, no, no. I mean, as you said, it can be cooking, it can be washing the dishes, it can be dancing, it can be gardening, whatever you pick. It's an art, it's a form of art. So find something that really resonates with you. And then the second step is to incorporate it into your daily life because we always have that, excuse we are all busy and everything. But then we always have time to scroll on TikTok and on Facebook and Instagram. So if you can do that, if you have time for that, you can have time for art. So even if you can just squeeze in, just schedule like 10 minutes every day to
Yep.
start with, that's a huge step. That's how I did with walking. I'm an avid walker, so I walk every day and I love meditating and I do love exercising. But I just started with small steps. So you don't have to do like 2 hours art like every day. Just start
Right.
with 10 minutes. And then again, the third and important part is to join an art community, which now you can do online, virtually, like everything else, or you can do it locally, where you can actually, like in person, meet people and create some art together. For me, it was a different process because I'm an artist. I'm a Scorpio too, so I don't like to be around people when I create art.
Mm-hmm.
But you can totally do that because it's again the sense of belonging, and it will provide you support, make new friendships, relationships with people. And that's the beauty of it. It's not just about art, it's about community. It's
Yeah.
about feel seen, heard, valued by other people in your community, and again to feel loved by them too. So it's part of the process. So I think it's important.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it's important to put a little note in there for people who, when you start out doing art, do not compare yourself to somebody who's been doing the art for 20 years
Right.
or
Correct.
10 years or even 5 years. Art is so subjective.
Yeah.
I was watching a movie this morning on Netflix. I think it was the stories of AJ Fickery, and his daughter wrote a story and she came in third in this short story contest. And he was like, you can't go off of what other people say because it depends on what's going on that day. They
Right.
may look at the art that you made of using your grandmother's lace, and their grandmother just passed away, and they may connect to that piece of art and absolutely
Mm.
love it, and want to pay $10,000 for it if you're selling it.
Yes, please. Yeah.
But
No.
right. But somebody else may look at it who did not have a good relationship with their grandmother and just
Mm,
totally despise your work of art.
exactly.
So it's important to not take what other people say personally,
Yeah.
because it is your art, it is your healing, it is what don't let others validate where your healing is at.
So true. Tanya, that's so right. And it's not about you, it's about them.
Right.
It's about your baggage. It's not about your life, and it's not
Right.
about your things. Yeah, that's important too.
I love how you have taken, and collage making is an art form that you don't hear about very often.
No, no. And I started with like a paper collage, like cut and paste collage, like
Okay.
glue, scissors, paper. And
Right.
so when people ask me, it's like, is that hard to make? No, I mean, my 4-year-old son could make it. Like he was
Right.
allowed to use the scissors and
Yep.
everything. And you can, kids can make collages. I mean, you can make collages. It's so easy. And I clearly remember my first collage I made in 2012, and before my son was born, and I was expecting him, and that was my first collage was made, and it was, I still have it. It was like old buttons and textiles and pictures on it, and it was a very special moment. That was the moment when I started making collages, because it was an art form that has basically, it has no rules. You
Right.
do whatever you want, especially mixed media. It's not like the perfect line or the perfect color or perfect whatever. It's
Mhm.
like it just came to me, and I started doing it, and it's just amazing, like how you can express yourself, your thoughts, your feelings with just collages. Yeah.
It reminds me of vision boards in a way.
Yes, yeah, actually that
So
was on my
if
mind
people,
while I was talking.
yeah, if people have created vision boards, you can
Mm,
create a collage
correct.
and
Yes.
use the materials that you have already. We have so much stuff as human
Yes.
beings. We have
Yeah.
so much stuff. Use what you have in your home to make
Mm,
these collages, to
yeah.
make your art, to repurpose what you already have instead of going out and buying more stuff. And this isn't like, not like, if you need paintbrushes, go buy paintbrushes. If you need decoupage glue, go buy the glue. But you try to use what you already have in your home in order to create something that's going to be healing for you.
Yeah, I'm all about decluttering. That's my side,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say side hustle, but like kind of side interest, that I'm really into it. And as you said, we have so much stuff at home. We have old books, we have old magazines.
Yep.
There's so many things. Like I use my like piece of childhood's clothing that I incorporated into my collages, or my son's clothing that I kept, but I wanted to use it on a canvas. So yeah, we have it. You have it at home. You don't need to buy anything, basically, just a few things, and yeah, it's ready. It's there.
Yeah. Noemi, talk a little bit. Let's shift gears just a little bit, because I do want to give you some time to talk about your podcasting business,
Yeah.
because that is how we met. Was
Yes.
you had actually pitched a couple of your clients
Yeah.
onto the podcast, and then you're like, oh hey, can I come on? And I was like, absolutely.
And I
So
appreciate that.
it's podcast connections,
Yeah,
and
correct.
this is the business you've had for a little over, going on 5 years, or a little over five
Ye-
years
5 years. Yeah, we just
Okay.
celebrated our birthday in April, at the beginning
Okay.
of April. So that was our fifth birthday. That was basically the big second business that we did. And yeah, and I just love it, because I realized that I was only doing content create only, but no, so I was doing content creation, social media marketing, online marketing in our previous business. And I was more in the background. But this business just came with so many opportunities, like networking with people from all around the globe. But I'm sitting in Cyprus. I live in Cyprus, and it's so far from everything. It's like, I don't know, like 5,000 miles from the East Coast, from the US, and
Yeah.
I connect people within the US and connect to shows and connect them to each other. And I think that's just the beauty of it, that to help them to share their stories, and help there to share their knowledge across the globe through podcast guesting. And I think it's just so powerful. And it's I read about it. I share a lot of information about podcast guesting, and it's kind of the 21st century's new networking forum, because that's how you meet people. That's how I met you and other great hosts, and it's amazing, and I love it.
Well, I love your story. I
Thank you.
love that you came on here to tell it, because there are so many, it's one of the reasons why I do this podcast, is there are so many ways to heal. There isn't just my way. There
Mm,
isn't just another coach's way. There are so many different ways to heal, and there are so many different ways to incorporate all of them together to find the right recipe for you. And so that's why I do this. What are 2 or 3 nuggets, whether it's about art or podcasting? What are 2 or 3 nuggets that you would want to pass along to the listeners?
I think probably the most important one is whatever you do, just be consistent and persistent with it when it comes to life, business, healing, and take the small steps approach. Because if you just, rinse and repeat the process every day and try to stick to do something for at least 21 days, then it will become a habit. So whatever you do, whatever you try to do, start a new business, make a collage, read a book, whatever, create a painting, just stick to it and just keep going, because that's my motto and that's my mantra in life. I don't have tattoos. I wish I would have, but I don't. So, and I know you have it. You're beautiful.
I have a ton.
Yes, you're beautiful.
Got my
it's
Christmas
beautiful.
Sleeve started.
It's really nice. I don't want anything, but if I had one, just keep going would be on my skin, because I think they're just so important to be consistent and persistent with something. That's probably the first thing. And again, about art is not a luxury and not a necessity. It's many people think that, art doesn't help to heal. It does. You just have to experience it and just start it. And then you will feel the effect. And if you don't have enough money, for example, to hire a coach, or not, talking against you or anything like that, but many people, they don't. I mean, they can't afford it. That's it. So but you can start doing something. You can doodle at home. You can finger paint. You can do some small steps. And one day you might have that kind of money that you have extra support, but you can help yourself. And that's the beauty of it. And again, art is so much about expression without judgment, and express yourself freely, because there's nothing's perfect. You are not perfect. Your art is not perfect, but it will help you to heal.
Yeah, it will. And I struggle with that word perfect, because I think everything and everybody is perfect, because it's everybody else's opinions that cause it to have flaws.
That's true too.
It's not ours. So in my eyes, everything is perfectly perfect, because it is what it is.
Yeah.
And so your art is perfect. Your art is perfect. It's perfect for you. Perfect
for us. Exactly.
And that is all that matters.
Yeah.
Very true. Where can people find you? I know you said you don't do the art thing, but if they have questions, can they reach out to you? Where can they find you?
Yeah, absolutely. The business side of things, it's podcastconnections.co. That's our business webpage. And you can connect with us, and we can help you to find great podcasts like yours, Tenya. And the other thing is, I'm very active on LinkedIn, and that's from my social media background, content creation. And you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Just type my name in, Noemi Beres, and the tiny microphone sign comes up next to my name, and that's me, and you can connect with me. But if you are more interested in my artsy stuff, then please visit my Instagram page. It's Noemi Beres. I have about 96K followers. I've been, building up this site for many, many years. And it's all about creativity, colors, art. So yeah, just you can follow me on Instagram too.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much, Tenya, for this amazing chat interview.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Metamorphosis Project podcast. I hope today's episode brought you inspiration, joy, and a spark of empowerment. Remember, transformation is an incredible journey, and every single step you take towards self-care and healing brings you closer to the life you truly desire. If this episode uplifted you, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your support helps us to share this journey of hope, resilience, and joy with many listeners. For more tips, support, and inspiration, come and visit us at designyourexistence.com. Until next time, keep growing, keep healing, and keep shining brightly. You are absolutely worth every bit of love and care you give to yourself. Take care, stay joyful, and be well.